Happy New Year to you, but this week we're not only going to be recognizing the New Year's traditions of the United States, but we're going to be looking at the New Year's traditions of China. And to really understand where these traditions come from, we're going to tell you a little bit of a story today. It is the legend of the Lunar Year. Our objective is I can recount the important events in the legend that inspired the Chinese New Year. Chinese New Year and American New Year have some similarities, but they have many differences. And to understand where these differences come from, we need to learn about this legend. This week, we'll be learning about Chinese New Year traditions, and unlike American New Year's, Chinese New Year's is a 15-day-long festival between January to February each year. The dates change each year. Each day this week, we'll learn about Chinese New Year's traditions, symbols, foods, and more, but today, we're going to start by learning, where does the origin of this holiday begin? So let's listen to the legend of the Lunar Year. Now, we're going to watch it once for enjoyment, and then we're going to circle back and enjoy it a few more times as detectives, because today you're responsible for creating a comic book. And to have all of the correct captions in the comic books, we're going to have to pause and talk. But for now, let's enjoy this video once through.
Happy New Year! Join us as we explore Lunar New Year, a holiday that dates back thousands of years. Today we'll travel to China to explore the rich traditions that have been passed down from generations to celebrate the holiday. Another year of good fortune is beginning in China. Fireworks pop high in the sky. Dragons dance in the streets. And the city slows down to celebrate Lunar New Year. In Chinese culture, it's the most important time of the year, rooted in traditions and customs passed down through the ages. The celebration lasts for 15 magical days full of family togetherness, delicious food, and good fortune. Today, Lunar New Year is filled with happiness. But according to legend, it didn't start out that way. A long, long time ago in China, there was a big, scary, nasty beast named Nian, whose name means year. He had razor-sharp teeth, giant claws, and a really mean growl. Most of the time he lived in the wilderness, but on the darkest night of the year, when the new moon was in the sky, he would sneak into the village and scare everyone in sight, even the animals. People dreaded the new moon for many, many years, until a wise man taught them the three things Nian was afraid of: loud noises, fire, and the color red. The next time Nian came, the villagers fought back. They hit their drums as loud as they could, lit every firecracker they had, and wore the color red from head to toe. Nian ran far away and never came back. After that, the people started celebrating the new moon instead of fearing it. That celebration became a 15-day festival of family, food, and good fortune called Lunar New Year.
So now let's watch this video as detectives. Write down the answers to these questions. You'll need to know the answers for your comic project, and we're going to take it one piece of the video at a time. So we'll watch a few seconds, and then we're going to pause at 1 minute to answer these questions. As we answer them, write down your answers either on a sheet of paper or a whiteboard, so when you add a response and build your comic, you'll know how to fill in the captions.
A long, long time ago in China, there was a big, scary, nasty beast named Nian, whose name means year.
All right, I'm going to pause at 1 minute. Make sure you have something to write with, and let's answer these two questions. Number 1, what country does this legend originate from? What version of the New Year tradition are we learning about? From what country? Okay, do you have your answer written down? Let's look at question number 2. Who is Nian? What character in the legend of the Lunar Year is Nian? Now, don't only draw a picture, but really think of the words, because when you build your comic and you build your comic captions, you'll need to know how to describe Nian. So now we're going to watch a little bit more of the video, about 18 more seconds. And again, we're going to ask you a new question for you to write down the answer to. So when you make your comic, you'll know exactly what details to put into the captions. So here's your next question to pay attention to for these 18 seconds. What would Nian do each time he came to the village?
He had razor-sharp teeth, giant claws, and a really mean growl. Most of the time he lived in the wilderness, but on the darkest night of the year, when the new moon was in the sky, he would sneak into the village and scare everyone in sight, even the animals.
All right, now write down that detail. What is it that Nian would do every time he came to the village? And then we'll explore a new question. If you need more time to write down some of your answers before we move on to the next clip, you always have the option to pause this video. For the next 14 seconds of the video, pay attention to this question. Now, this is going to be really important to write down because these details you might forget as you move on to your comic book. What are the 3 things that the wise man says Nian is afraid of? Pay attention to these 14 seconds and list the 3 things Nian is afraid of.
People dreaded the new moon for many, many years, until a wise man taught them the 3 things Nian was afraid of: loud noises, fire, and the color red.
All right, take a look at this image, remember what you heard, and write down the 3 things that Nian is afraid of before we answer our next question. Remember to always pause along the way if you need more time to write down your answer. But for the next part of this video, you're going to answer what are the 3 things the villagers did to scare Nian away. Now, you learned that Nian is afraid of fire, loud noises, and the color red. So how is it that the villagers showed the color red, created fire, and made loud noise to scare Nian? Get descriptive with your answer. So pay attention to these next 15 seconds of the video.
The next time Nian came, the villagers fought back. They hit their drums as loud as they could, lit every firecracker they had, and wore the color red from head to toe. Nian ran far away and never came back.
Now, what were the 3 things that the villagers did to scare Nian away? Now we're going to watch the video all the way to the end and answer these final 2 questions. And one of these questions you have already answered before, so you just need to copy the same answer. Number 1, what country is this legend from? And number 2, how many days is this festival celebrated for? So let's finish our video and answer those 2 questions.
After that, the people started celebrating the new moon instead of fearing it. That celebration became a 15-day festival of family, food, and good fortune called Lunar New Year.
All right, we're going to stop here and let's talk about the comic book that you're going to create on Seesaw. All right, comic creators, you're going to be telling the legend of the lunar year using your drawing and typing tools on Seesaw. On the first slide is your title page, so your only responsibility is down at the bottom of your slide. Do you see the sentence, "This comic was made by"? Well, my authors, that's where you're going to plug in your first name to claim your beautiful comic that you're making. As you go through the different slides on Seesaw, you're going to notice a blank image and a caption. You're going to fill in the blanks of the caption using the notes that you took while you watched the video. A long time ago in a country named blank, there was a blank named Nian. And as you could probably guess, in that big blank square is your space to create a masterpiece. When you finish on one slide, you move on to the next. On the darkest night of the year, when the new moon was in the sky, he would come to the village and blank. Everyone was always afraid of the new moon until one day a wise man shared with his village the 3 things Nian was afraid of. Blank, blank, and blank. You can see where these notes are going to come in handy for you. When Nian returned on the next new moon, the villagers fought back by blank, blank, and blank. Nian ran away and never returned to the village. Now you'll end your story with this caption. Now, every year, people in the country of blank celebrate this in a festival that lasts for blank days. So now it's your turn. Add a response on Seesaw and start creating your Legend of the Lunar Year comic.